With that, let's shift our attention now. Days after the Telangana government began clearing large tracts of the Kancha Gantibowli forested area near the University of Hyderabad, the Supreme Court has ripped apart the state government. The top court took serious note of the large-scale tree felling in the Kancha Gantibowli forest area of Telangana and directed the state government to halt further deforestation immediately. The Supreme Court put the onus on the Chief Secretary of Telangana that the order is followed in letter and spirit. The Supreme Court also cautioned that the Chief Secretary will go to temporary prison constructed on the same spot near the lake if the Chief Secretary wants to enjoy the state hospitality. One can't help it. In fact, the Supreme Court went on to say it's better to ensure that the orders are complied with. After the wrap from the Supreme Court, the Telangana government has decided to constitute a committee with a group of ministers. The panel also includes Bhatti Vikramarka as well as Sridhar Babu as well as Pungileti Srinivas Reddy. They will all be holding discussions along with the stakeholders and to resolve and give a way forward in the Kancha Gantibowli land issue. So it's a big controversy that has broken out. Remember, the BRS, BJP as well as several other student bodies had also been protesting against the same. So let's tell you who are the ministers in the panel and which are the groups that are now going to be consulted over the same after the Supreme Court wrap. First, let's tell you about what the Supreme Court has said. It's a big rebuke from the top court of the country, and it went on to say that take no steps to cut trees or to reduce forests. So the Supreme Court going on to say that the state government was clearly not following the order, saying that any deforestation must stop immediately. The top court also went on to ask what was the urgency to start this deforestation, and then going on to say that the report submitted by the registrar is quite alarming. So the situation in Telangana where hundreds of trees are being cut is alarming, the top court went on to say, while saying that hundreds of trees were cut. Several JCBs were very clearly present there and no further action should be taken until further orders from the Supreme Court. So this was the decision. Remember, the High Court had already given the instructions to the state government to halt the deforestation, and yet the trees were continued to be felled, and that's the reason why the Supreme Court stepped in. Now, the BRS and the BJP have cornered the Congress government, calling out the hypocrisy of the Revanth Reddy government and questioning Rahul's silence on the matter. The Congress party, though, called it an attempt to politicize a students' protest to gain political mileage. Listen in to the war of words.
He's a habitual offender, where even when the matter is in a court of law. We are appealing to all the real estate companies who are eyeing this land. Please stay away. Because, please don't blame us later that we have not forewarned you. We are forewarning you. This is a policy decision of the BRS, and we will make sure that even if somebody buys it now, we will resume it and we will convert it into Hyderabad's biggest eco park, ensuring that lung spaces there are protected and kept intact.
आज राहुल गांधी से सवाल बनता है, एनवायरनमेंट के ऊपर तो आप बड़ी बड़ी बातें और लेक्चर देते हैं, लेटर लिखते हैं एनवायरनमेंट इम्पैक्ट असेसमेंट का, आप बात करते हैं आरए फॉरेस्ट की, आज क्यों बोलती बंद है राहुल गांधी आपकी?
Why are BJP and BRS playing politics with the youth, with the students of HCU? That the only way forward is to have a debate. They are only creating a crisis in which ordinary students will be victims, ordinary citizens will be the victims.
So the political showdown of it aside, the Supreme Court also came down heavily on the Telangana government, asking them to follow the orders. My colleague Shomit is joining us on the broadcast with the details. He has been following the story as well and the protests that have been taking place. Shomit, so while the political showdown is taking place, a lot of students were also protesting, saying it's absolutely unacceptable that trees are being cut. But now the rap has come in from the top court. Take us to what happened in the Supreme Court and whether there's any reaction from the Telangana government.
Well, see, first of all, in the beginning itself, when no one knew about it, actually students were shocked after hundreds of JCBs entered into the Hyderabad Central University. So this is 400 acres of land which belongs to the state government, and even state government has the, a judgment from the court as well. But then no one thought that they will be auctioning this land. However, after winning the land, all of a sudden they have sent hundreds of JCBs into the bulldozers into this land, and they started cutting down the trees. The felling started, and immediately later a case was filed, appeal was filed in the High Court, and later that for Water Foundation has approached the High Court and sought for an immediate hearing and urgent hearing. However, High Court has heard the matter, and however oral orders were given, and yesterday Supreme Court has also taken it as in suo motu cognizance, and also even asked ordered the registrar of the High Court to reach the spot. He has reached the spot. He has given a clean and detailed report where he also stated that the felling took place even after the orders, and that was visible on the ground, and even animals are staying in this ground is on that 400 acres of land is what the registrar also stated. And later the matter we have heard how Supreme Court has come down heavily on the state government and even warned that if Chief Secretary doesn't follow the orders, proceedings will be done against the Chief Secretary. However, immediately after that the state government has responded, and a committee with 3 ministers, Sridhar Babu, Bhatti Vikramarka and Ponguleti Srinivas Reddy, with these 3 ministers, top ministers of the Telangana cabinet, a committee has been formed, and they will be meeting with all the stakeholders, civil society groups, and also especially student delegations and the executive committee of the Hyderabad Central University. And they wanted to go forward and make a way. However, we'll have to wait and see whether these meetings will be successful or not, because civil society groups, they are not happy, students are not happy, executive council is not happy. We'll have to wait and see whether the students will be protesting furthermore, or they'll be waiting for the further orders. But yes, whether state government will go ahead, or whether they will back off and roll back on their decision.
Okay, all right. Will they roll back on their decision? That will be the big question. And of course, Shamit, for now it's a victory for the students, because the Supreme Court has said that all the deforestation work should be halted immediately. Thank you for joining us with those details. But with that, viewers, let's also tell you what the Supreme Court has said, seeking a response from the Chief Secretary, as Shamit was pointing out. The Supreme Court has used some strong words in asking the Telangana government what was the hurry to carry out this deforestation. Was environmental impact assessment even done in the case? Remember, there are several animals that stay there. There are many trees around the area, so it could have a detrimental environmental impact. So the Supreme Court asking the Telangana government that the basic is to have the environment impact assessment done. Was it done in the case or not? And then going on to also question the permission that was taken to cut trees, whether it was taken or not. So now the Telangana government has decided to have ministers from the party to be a part of a committee, and they will be holding discussions with all stakeholders. Remember, students have been protesting. There are several civil groups that are protesting against the same. Environmentalists are protesting against it. And of course, politically, the BJP as well as the BRS is also opposed to it. The Telangana government says that the focus is on development, and that's the reason why the trees are being cut down. But imagine the impact that it could have. But let's also now tell you what is the action that has been taken and what the Supreme Court has said in this regard as well. The Supreme Court has said no steps must reduce forest land unless a compensatory land is given. But we saw what happened in Telangana. Trees were cut and there were JCBs that were present in the forest. That was very clearly seen. The Supreme Court orders very clear that if orders are not complied with, then it will hold the Chief Secretaries responsible. In fact, the top court has now also pulled up the Chief Secretary for non-compliance in the case. So a big showdown that took place, and that was politically, the students as well as civil groups also opposing it. But more importantly, the Supreme Court stepping in, calling out the Telangana government for cutting down trees, even though the High Court was very clear in its direction. Now it will be interesting to see what is the decision that is taken after such backlash from all corners. Will there be a rollback from the Telangana government? We're keeping a track of that. For now, it's time for us to slip into a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with lots more.